What's up YouTube? Welcome back to Gadget Bear. Today we have my review of the Sony Xperia XA2 Ultra. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, let's start with build quality and design. The Sony XA line has not changed in about 2 to 3 years. They pretty much have kept the same design, and believe me, it's not a bad thing. I like a phone that can really stand out from the rest. So it has these straight, sharp edges on the top and the bottom of the phone, and it also has this nicely curved edge on the side of the phone that where the glass just fluently just goes right into the metal bezel. The back of the phone is plastic, but it's very hard to tell. So you have glass, plastic, and metal for this phone. Overall, even if this phone does not follow 2018 trends for phone design, it's still a very appealing phone. The volume rocker and power button are conveniently located on the right side of the phone. They feel very nice and clicky. You get a very satisfying feeling when pressing them. Also, the power button is round. That makes for easily being able to distinguish the difference between your finger being on the power button or being on the volume rocker, which is phenomenal. Also accompanied on the right side of the phone, you have a dedicated shutter button. The shutter button is located on the right side of the phone, the lower right side of the phone, where when you hold the phone in a particular manner, which is basically how I normally hold the phone, you tend to press that shutter button a lot accidentally with your palm. Now, I have not found a way how to disable the button, but if you know how to disable the button, please leave a comment below to let us know how, because this tends to be very annoying and it will prevent a lot of camera launches without you wanting to actually launch the camera. Now, for the very first time, Sony has added a fingerprint sensor for the XA line. Well, basically any Sony phone in the US, conveniently located on the rear. Now, the fingerprint sensor is not the fastest and it's not the slowest though, but it is somewhat reliable. Sometimes you do get it acting a little funky and it will tend to misread your fingerprint, but for the most part, it's all right. It's pretty good. Now let's talk about the display. Looking at this 1080p 6-inch IPS Sony display is amazing. It's enjoyable. Watching media on this is by far a great experience. Something about watching content on larger screens just makes for an enjoyable experience. It has very vibrant and punchy colors, and the picture quality is very crisp. This display on the Sony Xperia XA2 Ultra at 1080p is by far one of the best 1080p displays I've seen thus far. Not only that, Sony gave you the option to calibrate the display to your liking. It gives you 3 different color profiles, allowing you to choose the color profile you like the most, and also it allows you to choose your white balancing. If you like warmer whites or colder whites, it gives you the option, and not too many OEMs tend to do that for us nowadays. They just calibrate the phone and they give it to you and they're like, here you go. But Sony did that, and that's a great feature to have on this phone. Now let's talk performance. Powering the phone, we have the successor to the Snapdragon 625, which is by far one of the best mid-range chipsets last year. We have the Snapdragon 630. Just enough power to run the apps and games you want while providing just the best battery life possible. And it does not fall short, especially when it's equipped with a 3,580 milliamp hour battery. One thing I did notice is that the OS tends to be buggy at times and lag sometimes. I don't think it's because the phone is under power. It has plenty of RAM, 4 gigs of RAM to be exact, and 64 gigs on onboard storage with the option to expand. So I think Sony really needs to tweak out its OS and tailor it more to the Snapdragon, because it does not make for a good experience. Now let's talk about battery life. Now there's not really too much to say. As I mentioned earlier, the battery life is great. You get about 6 hours of screen on time with about 15 to 16 hours of daily usage. And that can be expected. The 625 was the boss. The 630 is the boss when it comes to battery life in this area. And by far, you won't be disappointed. This phone will easily last you a day with no problem. Now let's talk about the good old cameras. Now, we have two front-facing cameras. We have a 16 megapixel with OIS, optical image stabilization, and a 8 megapixel wide angle camera with no OIS. In the rear, we have a 21 megapixel also with no OIS. Now, I'm not gonna get too much into detail. If you follow the channel, you've seen some camera and video samples that I posted. If you wanna catch that video, go ahead and hit the link right here. Now, also, there is issues with these cameras, especially the front-facing cameras. I'm not gonna get, like I said, into detail, but there is issues, and if you want to see what those issues are, click this link right here. It'll direct you to that video. To sum up the cameras for the Sony phone, for the Sony Xperia XA2, ultimately you have great camera sensors. Sony by far makes some of the best camera sensors there is today. You find them in Samsung phones, the Pixel phones. Every phone out there uses a Sony phone, but what Sony just falls short at is their camera app and optimizing those sensors to take great quality pictures. You're not gonna get great pictures with this phone. You're not gonna get great video. There's a lot of focus hunting with the cameras. The pictures are all right. By far, the only thing I enjoyed out of these cameras was the front wide angle camera. I enjoy taking selfies with me, my family, and friends. But that does not justify the $450 price range of this phone. For that price, you can possibly get another phone equally with way better cameras. There's cheaper phones out there that probably take, if not equally the same quality picture, or if not better. So for me, the camera has been a big fail for the Sony phones, and they have been for the last 2 years. I did get the XA1 Ultra. You can find the link right there to watch that video. And one of the main complaints was the camera itself, and this time around it's that again. In the end, Sony had 3 firsts with this phone. It had first time using a fingerprint sensor on the XA line or any US branded Sony phone. Number 2, the first time using a Snapdragon on the XA line. And number 3, using dual front facing cameras. Now, all of that was a pleasure to have, but where Sony falls short is by pricing the phone at $450. Goddamn. Goddamn. At that price point, there's numerous phones out there that are better spec'd and have better cameras that can easily provide a better experience than this Sony phone. Now, I am a big Sony fan. I like the design of the phone, but today, on this date, you can say, yeah, well, all that could get fixed with OS updates and all that, and you are right. All that will get fixed with OS updates and all that. But today, as I reviewed the phone for the last 2.5 weeks, it has not gone fixed. And I can only relate my experience to the consumer, to somebody who's thinking about this phone. Now, with all the issues it's having at $450, I cannot recommend this phone. If it takes a price drops and if Sony does fix all those issues, then we'll be talking about a different story maybe 3 months from now. But as far as today, the state the phone is in today, this phone for me, I cannot recommend it to anybody. Thanks for watching, guys. please like, share, and subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, you definitely need to subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell. If you guys haven't hit that notification bell, please hit the notification bell. I'm this close to 1,000 subscribers. I just need to get there, and I need to get my watch time hours. So if you stayed all the way to the end and watched this video, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Da-dum. Thanks for watching again. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.